What is going on, travel family? Welcome to another broadcast from Point Noir, home of the Point Noir podcast. I'm your host and guide, as always, Jerry III, aka Kimono Jack. And here at Point Noir, we aim to inspire and equip men of color to see themselves in a new light through travel. We do that by sharing amazing travel stories and also giving away passports every single month. So I'm so glad you're here with us for our 27th session of the Point Noir podcast. And it's the holiday season, y'all. We have Christmas, Hanukkah, Kwanzaa, New Year's coming up right around the corner. So remember to be kind to yourselves and each other and just try to stay in a joyous, positive spirit, because we all have so many things to look forward to and celebrate ending this last year and going into the next one. So as always, we have another amazing guest here to introduce to you in our next segment. And I wanted to remind you guys, as always, that it's not too late to leave us a little something under the digital Christmas tree in the form of a review, a 5-star rating on iTunes. We just really appreciate it. If you guys love the content, if you support what we're doing, or if you have any feedback, you can always hit us up on Instagram at Point Noir Show. So with that all being said, let's introduce today's guest. Joining us today at The Point as our special guest is Cedric Wood. Make sure you check him out on Instagram at med_ced and check out his personal travel blog, cedinthecity.com, where you can read and see so much more about all the amazing experiences he's had around the world and get some amazing travel tips if you happen to venture in these similar areas. I loved having the chance to sit down with Ced and talk about his experience shopping for suits in Beijing, how he likes to stay in some all-inclusive resorts, and how he'll also be willing to share an Airbnb when he does his solo trip so he can engage with more people. You guys are going to get a ton out of the gems that he shares, especially when it comes to saving money on flights and on reservations, so you can spend your money exploring and engaging in the culture. And I think you guys are going to get a ton of value out of it, especially during this holiday season. So as always, find a nice, comfy place to curl up with a refreshing beverage of choice, maybe a little bit of eggnog, you know what I'm saying, and enjoy today's session. I'll see you on the flip side. What's going on, Ced? Thanks for joining us today at The Point. How you feeling today, bro?
I'm feeling great, man. Great to be talking with you tonight. To share some points about travel, some travel goals of mine, and how I got into it, basically.
Yeah, man, I'm really interested to hear how you got into it, because you're from South Carolina originally, aren't you?
Yeah, originally, Hot Carolina.
Hot Carolina, South Crackalacky.
Right. I'm from the South, so Timminsville, small town, about 2,000 people.
Yeah, Timminsville. I think I passed through there.
Have you?
Yeah,
Have you
I've
really?
been in some, bro. No, real talk. Like I used to play in a rock cover band, so we used to be out in Beaufort. I used to be out in King Street playing the festivals out in King Street. Like I've been out there.
Wow, man, it is crazy.
It's a different culture.
So I've been here basically all my life because I live in Columbia now. So which is an hour from Timminsville. So I've been here basically, my whole life. I never lived anywhere else. I lived in Myrtle Beach after college.
Okay.
That was still South Carolina. And so then I moved to Columbia. It's crazy. And when I tell people this, they're like shocked because I've traveled to so many other places outside of the US, but I have always lived in the same state.
Well, let's talk about that a bit, because no shade on South Carolina, but it's a place that's tough to leave. I remember going to school, meeting people who were from the area their whole lives, and it seems like a lot of people, especially from southern states, never leave. And, because there's, New York is scary, the city's too fast, or they don't want to travel. Some of my best friends hadn't been on planes until they were damn near 30. So what kind of inspired you to, it had to have been perceived as a risk for you. What inspired you to ever leave in the first place?
Right. I don't know. Like when I was younger, like my parents always took me and my brother, and sisters on trips. So like after school, they would pick us up and we would like go either fishing to Myrtle Beach, or we'd take random trips to either Columbia or Charlotte or Atlanta. And sometimes like on the weekends or what have you, we would go down to Florida. Or I have family in New York. We would drive up there. So we were hardly ever home. So I don't know if I got it from that. Um, probably so. And I remember when I got my first car in high school, like some of my other friends that had new cars, they
Hmm.
were not driving them as much because they said they didn't want to put any miles on their car. And so,
Right. After they
and
already
I
lost
remember
value when they pulled off the lot, right?
exactly. Then my mom told me one day, she said Cedric, because she's the only person that really calls me Cedric. All my friends call me Ced. But she said,
Got you.
Cedric, cars are made to be driven. And I don't know, I will always remember that. So like I drive everywhere. Like I love being on the road. And so I don't know if my travel bug started then. Probably so, but I will always be somewhere in another state, you know.
Right. I
So
mean, you got exposed early in the fact that you did it with your family, with your mother, because, growing up in the North, like I did, I realized that Southern families, the Southern culture is very family centric. So, you don't
right,
want to leave moms, you don't want to leave your pops. But the fact that your mom encouraged you with those words right there, and the fact that she was with you to expose you to these other areas, it probably didn't feel as much of a risk as maybe others might have felt who were trying to leave the state or just do different stuff, right?
exactly. I didn't fly until I was 23.
Okay.
I didn't get on the first plane, my first plane until I was 23. I went to New York for New
Okay.
Year's, and that was pretty wild.
Yeah, I'm sure it was a turn up. 23, you could drink. You in the big city, the Big Apple. Yeah.
Yeah, I met some of my friends, and we had a blast. And that was my first time in the air. So, like when flights take off, that
That
I
pull of
was
the gravity
praying.
going up.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I was praying.
Right. Right.
Then you hear those sounds. I guess the wheels, they're pulling the wheels in. And
Yeah.
you're just like, oh Lord, like what is that?
Right.
And
I don't remember
then
hearing this in the movies. What's that screeching sound? What's going on?
right, like what's going on? But I mean, it was cool. I was up the whole time because you can't sleep. That's your first flight. You
Right.
can't sleep. You're nervous. You don't know what's gonna happen. You done watched a lot of movies.
Right. Right.
So man, that was amazing. So I guess it started from there, man.
That's what's up, man. And no disrespect to the South because there's a lot of culture, a lot of roots down there. For everybody who's from the North above the Mason Dixon line, if you don't know anything about moonshine, take a trip down south, learn you something. I'll tell you, one of the best
Right.
weddings I ever was at. They had moonshine, they had mead, and they had honey wine, and I finished all the bottles. It was moonshine is a real deal, y'all. If you don't know nothing about it, get some culture in.
Right. And I think the only reason the reason I stay here because at this point I outgrew Columbia. I outgrew South Carolina.
Hmm.
Because I'm always like going away or visiting my friends in other cities just to have a good time and hang out. But the reason I stayed was because of my mom, trying to be close to my mom because being far away is scary for her,
Yeah.
and being close to like my church and church family. You gather. I don't know if it's a thing of the South. Like when we gain a bond, we don't want to
Hmm.
break it.
Yeah.
And it's so hard to pull away. So
Yeah,
um
and you're very involved in your church too. I saw that you're an organist.
yeah,
You play. You're a musician as
yeah,
well. So,
yeah,
I
I
mean,
do that, and I try to be back every Sunday. And I used to plan my travels. Well, I still try to plan my travels around Sunday, but sometimes
wow,
it's hard depending on how far I have to go. So sometimes I have to miss,
you
a
got to call a
Sunday.
sub or something.
Yeah, well, we have another one there. It's a sub there, but I just don't want to miss. But sometimes you just have to, depending on where you travel. I'm traveling to Africa next month. So that's a 2.5 week trip. So I'll be away for a little while.
Wow, but definitely respect for you, keeping to those commitments, those relationships, because a lot of people find it challenging to even imagine, okay, well, I do this thing every week, or the way my job is set up, I can't do this, that, and the other. But you found a way to find some flexibility and still see the places you want to see.
Exactly. Exactly. It's only, a weekend for a weekend in New York, Miami, LA. It's only a flight away. So I have done that so many times, and I
Right.
have no problem doing it. So
Yeah. So let's take it to the beginning. You traveled a lot, with your family as a kid. So you were kind of exposed to just different people in different places. But what was your first international trip? Why do you keep traveling overseas and not just hitting these other hot spots that are in the US?
yeah, um, my first international trip outside of a cruise for that was senior trip in high school to Jamaica, but I wouldn't count that. I would
Wait. Why,
say
why wouldn't you count? I've never been to Jamaica.
because I didn't spend a lot of time. It was a cruise,
Okay.
so
Okay.
we didn't spend a lot of time off of the ship. So
Got
you
you.
can't really, you really couldn't interact with the locals, and you couldn't really, try different restaurants or it wasn't a long stay, so that's why I didn't really count that. But
Okay.
I've been to. I think my first trip was Toronto.
All right.
Um,
T.O.
would that be international?
That's absolutely international,
Okay,
bro.
yeah, it's outside of
Yeah.
this
You can't
country,
get there
so
without a
yeah,
passport anymore.
right. So it's to Toronto, um,
Okay.
and that was fun. Customs was a little rough for Toronto, actually, for
Really?
my room. Yeah, because when I got there, I was meeting a friend there, and so I was trying to go through customs, and the officer was asking me basically, well, let me back up. It was early. It was an
Right.
early flight, so I was super tired. So he was
Hmm.
asking me who I was meeting, and I told him I was meeting my friend. He said, "Well, where are you guys staying?" Then he said, "Where's your friend from?" And I just couldn't come up with the responses fast enough. I was tired,
Right.
and I don't know. I thought it was about to put me in a holding area. I
Wow.
wanted to say like, God, I don't know. Like it was intense. He asked me about 6 questions before he would let me go. Then he asked, what did he do for a living? And I did not know because my friend does something in finance. I don't know if he's
Right.
like a finance analyst or something in finance. And then the officer said, because I said I don't, he does something in finance. He said, well, you meeting someone and you don't know what they do for a living? And so
Wow. Like, but to be
I
to
was
be
just
honest, sir, I'm
like,
not sure exactly what you're doing for a living right
right.
now because I just got here, my guy. Just
Yeah,
woke up.
exactly. I wanted to say I give up because I'm tired. I want to get to my hotel, sleep for a few hours, and
Right.
but he eventually let me go. And so, um, but yeah, I don't know if it got any better, but that was my first experience going through customs
Wow.
in a different country.
That
Yeah,
might be enough to make you wonder if you ever want to do that again,
exactly,
especially when
exactly. But
you didn't do anything wrong.
right, but Toronto is it's a cool city. I had a lot of fun. I didn't do everything I wanted to do because actually the main thing I wanted to do was the edge walk on top of the CN Tower, and I kind of
Oh,
punked
what's
out.
this? I'm not familiar. I'm not hip. I'm
Oh,
not
you're
hip.
not
What's that?
familiar? Oh,
No.
okay.
I
Well,
know the
have
tower,
you
but what's
you know the
I
tower?
know what it sounds like.
Okay.
Sounds like you walking on the outside of that
The
damn
CN
tower.
Tower, which was once one of the tallest structures in the world, basically,
Right.
but you have other towers in the world that have that is larger than this one now. But actually, you can go to the
Mm-hmm.
very top, and I think it's about $200. I'm not sure, but you dress out, you watch these videos, and basically you hang off the tower. So you're with a group of people, um, and you just hang off, whatever, and it gives you like the most incredible view, of course,
Oh wow.
of Toronto. But it's one of the most thrilling experiences that they have there.
Did you do it?
I didn't do it. I went to the top, but then I kind of I punked out. I went to the observation deck, but then I
Right.
kind of punked out.
You know what? No shame. Observation sounds really classy. Every time I say the word observation, I have a pinky up. So I mean, you in good
Oh,
company.
really? I'm going to go back and do it actually. So I'm looking at times now. Keep in
Mm-hmm.
mind it's not offered during the fall, really much of
Okay.
fall, and it's not offered during winter at all. So you
Right.
have to go on their website and look at their calendar basically. And so you have to plan it from there if that's something you want to do.
Wow.
But
So for
something I
those of you who might
always,
not be, what are you saying?
yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
I was saying, there's one part you didn't mention. You were actually strapped to a harness and like a thing. Like you ain't
Oh, of
just walking
course.
out there. Yeah, no. I mean, I'm
Right.
I'm looking at pictures of it right now because you didn't mention that key detail. I just wanted to make sure. Yeah, you are strapped in, and you look pretty secure. But yeah, you were on the edge of that thing.
Yeah, you're strapped in, whatever. So, are you looking? Because one of the things I always do before I travel is Instagram is so huge right now. So I
Right.
always hashtag
Hmm.
everything. So I don't really miss out on an experience. So I can really get get a good feel on how it is. Because pictures you watch online sometimes, like Google Images, they're
Hmm.
like sometimes so commercialized. And
Right.
so I want to see what actually like we post, these amateur posts. So
Yeah, yeah. Like a regular day in the life sort of feel.
a regular day, yeah, few edits or no edits.
Wow. So you hit Toronto. That was your first trip overseas. And then where'd you go to after that? Like, you live in South Carolina, you have your friends and family there. You like to explore. What is it about traveling that kind of does it for you? That's worth your time and money and energy.
I think it's the like experiencing a different culture completely.
Okay.
Like I don't speak another language, but I can go to a country that don't speak English at all. Like
Hmm.
I visited San Andreas Island, and it's a Colombian island. So the only way to get there is from, I forgot the three places, but you can only get there. You can only catch flights from three places in the U.S. there, and I went through Miami,
Okay.
but I had to stop in Cali, Colombia, and get on another flight into San Andreas. And no one speaks English there. But it was one of the most amazing experiences of my life. Just
Really?
because the water is so beautiful, the beach is so beautiful. It's a small island. Um, it seems like people, like everyone knows each other there because it's
Hmm.
very small. It's very unique. They have they have about they have about 5 or 6 all inclusive resorts, and I stayed at one of them, and it
Okay.
was really really amazing. The beach was right next to the resort. I mean, everything was included. I didn't need really any money at all. They have food and drinks set out on the beach. It was so cool.
Right. And how long were you there for?
I was there for about 4 days.
Oh,
I was
wow.
there about
Okay.
4 days. It was definitely like a relaxation trip. You know, a trip to bring everything back together. A trip to meditate and think on life and escape the stressful environment of your job.
Right. And you have a demanding job, I imagine. I mean, along with being a traveler and, having all this world experience, you're a doctor.
Yeah. So it takes a lot out of you mentally,
Right.
and to have a job that's mentally draining. Sometimes it can exceed the physical.
Right.
Um, I don't know. A lot of people don't understand that, but I guess you have to really experience it. But you're thinking for 8 hours straight while
Right.
you're there, whatever your tour is, 8, 10. You're just thinking. You're multitasking. You're doing about 4 or 5 things, but you're trying to do all those things at 100% because if it's not, it could affect someone's life.
Right.
So
Right. There's
that's
no
how
there's not too
intense it
many
is.
do-overs in your profession,
Right,
right?
exactly. We're not in the profession to really make a mistake. You
Right.
know, a mistake can cost someone their life. So yeah, that's why it's so mentally draining.
Right. And that's fair. That makes, I mean, an all-inclusive resort, that sounds like the perfect place to have everything taken care of and, get to experience the country, but also not have to worry about too much. And it's interesting you mentioned that because a lot of the guests so far on the show haven't spoken much about all inclusive resorts. So is that something that you
Oh
do
yeah, I
often?
love them. Yeah,
Okay.
I've stayed at an all inclusive at the San Andreas. I did an all inclusive in Jamaica. I did an all inclusive in Punta Cana,
Okay.
Santa no Boca Chica, which is in Santo Domingo, 30 minutes from Santo Domingo.
Right.
Um I did an all inclusive. I did one in Cabo.
Okay.
That was fun. And I did one in the Bahamas. That was really fun. So all inclusives are great.
What's the vibe there? What kind of people do you meet? What kind of service is different? You know, we have a lot of people talk about hostels and Airbnbs. Where does an all inclusive add the value? What's the difference there?
Um, the great thing about it is you don't have to. You can leave everything in the room.
Okay.
You don't really need your phone at all. You can leave your credit cards in the room in the safe. I put all of that up. You can just grab food and take it anywhere you want on the resort. Take it down to the beach area, or they'll bring the food out to you. Everyone is it's so nice. The hospitality is really great, and you just get you have room service. It's just like you're a king.
Right.
You know,
Right.
they bring you whatever you want. And one time I needed a shirt for dinner, and they brought me a shirt, like a button-up white shirt.
Did
You
it fit?
know, yeah, it fit.
You know, sometimes these other
So
countries, you know, body sizes are a little bit different. So they got you a shirt that fits.
exactly,
Wow, that's
exactly.
now
So
now I might be sold on that shit now. I might be sold.
yeah, it's just one, and you can have whatever you want. It seems like, and so that's really what I loved about all inclusives. You go there and you really don't want to stay. Sometimes I do a lot of adventures. So if I
Hmm.
do an all inclusive, I might book something like zip lining or something like that away. But I'm always excited to get back to the resort because
Right.
you can go take your shower, then go to the sauna or go to the spa or something. Because most of them have spas or those type of amenities, which is really
Right.
cool. And man, they just cater to you. I think that's what I really love about it. You know,
Okay. So it's I mean, it really sounds like a place to, you know, kind of shut down the thinking part of your brain and just be in the
oh,
moment
there's no
and
thinking at
relax.
all, no
Okay.
thinking at all. It's just
Word.
all fun and it's just very convenient. I would say you won't have to worry about much. Let's say if you planned a trip to, let's say, Spain and Barcelona, and you rented an Airbnb, and you have to book all your tours. You have to get your own transportation,
Right. You got to feed
and all that
yourself
sort of stuff. And you have to feed yourself, find
in
certain
Spanish.
restaurants.
Yeah.
Exactly. You know, it's not that way. At an all inclusive, you don't worry about any of that. Go, you just walk. They'll bring it to you. Just walk to the beach. They will bring it to you. You know, at the pool area, they will bring it to you, bring you a drink, bring you some food, or you can fit, or food is close by. They have shows at night right there on the resort. You just live free.
Wow. I mean, I definitely appreciate that perspective because it's another side of the travel experience that people might want to be interested in because
Yeah.
sometimes you don't want to be out in a hostel with, you know, in a room with six people or having to kind of fend for yourself, especially if you don't speak the language. Like a resort is definitely another
Yeah,
way to travel. And I'm sure there are opportunities for deals and discounts and stuff like that too, right?
exactly. I use Cheap Caribbean. People have asked me this question as well, and from my research, that has been the or Expedia. Those been the leading companies, I think, for the best deals.
Okay.
But you have to book
Cheapcaribbean.com.
them, cheapcaribbean.com. But you have to book it early. You
Right.
can see the savings that you will receive if you book it early. Um, so and also, if you want to take this chance, the deals are really great during hurricane season. You will see
Yeah.
during September to early December, um, you can get great deals for all inclusives, primarily in the Caribbean area. Let's say Jamaica, flight and hotel for like $600, $700. You
Really?
know, yeah, yeah.
That's worth it.
Um,
And then they even bring the adventure straight to your door potentially if the season
ex-
kicks up.
exactly. So I've done it all. So I done I stayed in all inclusives. I have did hostels. I stayed in places where I was, kind of scared at first. I did a hostel in Amsterdam. That was kind of scary because it was right
Really?
in the center of the red light district. And it was our first time there, and it was
You
so
don't have to give too
loud
many
and
details, but you sure this was a hostel and just wasn't like you wasn't
no,
working?
no. Nah, it was definitely a hostel, man.
I mean, listen, there's many
And
ways to get around the world. That's all I'm saying.
right. And I have done 5 star hotels. I've did one in Dubai. I've stayed in Liberia at their 5 star, which is a 1 star to us.
Wow. Wow.
Where you sleep up under like the mosquito nets.
Right.
Um, so yeah. So that was kind of scary because I had to take that malaria medication, and
Oh, and that can
sometimes
make you
I have
sick.
like a lot of side effects. Yeah. So
Yeah.
it's just yeah, I've stayed all over at, you know, I've stayed with people, Airbnbs, with other I've shared an apartment.
Okay.
Um, so yeah. I've done it all. I think one of the things I haven't done yet is like a camping trip or something in a tent.
Right.
I don't know. Yeah. I see it on the list, but yeah, I haven't done that yet.
It's not high up on the list. Is that
It's
is
not
that
high on the
right?
list. Yeah,
It's
it's
just
not
on
really
there.
because I love the outdoors, but at the end of the day, I want to come back and get clean. So
Right. Wow. So in terms of like your experience and especially still living in South Carolina, what about your travel experience are you able to share with your family or friends that kind of maybe inspires them or makes them want to travel? Do you have any friends who started traveling because they've seen your adventures?
yeah, well, all of my friends follow me on Instagram. I don't think I have one friend that do not follow me. I follow
Right,
all
because
my
that's not a
friends.
real friend anyway in 2018. Ain't no real friend.
Yeah, but no, my real friends, which is
Right.
a very small group. They
Right.
all of them follow me as well, and I've been places with them. And actually, some of those guys have inspired me
Wow.
to travel. Um, and we've been to some places together, and I don't know, it's great if I can be an inspiration to others. That's great. I'm honored, and so I'm always trying to share my experiences through social media. That's the easiest way to share.
Right.
And through my blog, which I need to update. So which is hard, it's a lot of work, but I need to update it. It's just so hard when you're traveling, and I'm planning a trip right now. I don't know. We can talk about that next about planning the trip because it's not easy.
I
But
definitely want to get into
a
that
lot.
because I'd love to hear your process. And in terms of trip planning, my skills aren't that high. But first, before we even jump on another subject, I got to hear about this purple suit, bro, because I feel like there's a hella good story behind it. Talk to me about
Oh,
this
the
purple
purple
suit.
suit. So in Beijing, so my friend told me to check out the silk factory in Beijing, and
So, what's
so
the
I
Silk
didn't.
Factory? Break it down because I haven't been.
Oh,
I don't know
see,
shit.
I
What's
didn't know
going
what
on?
was in store. I'll
Okay.
tell you what I was thinking before I got to the silk factory. I was just
Okay.
thinking, okay, it's gonna be maybe like a flea market or something, and they will have a suit shop. So that's all I was thinking of. So I'm in Beijing. My tour is over. I went to the Great Wall, and so after I got back to the hotel, I looked at the map on my phone and I realized the silk factory was basically 1 or 2 blocks from my hotel. So I was like, shoot, I'm about to walk there.
Right.
And so I was there with 3 other friends. And so we walked down to the silk factory. And it's like this, well, if you haven't been to Beijing, a lot of the buildings downtown are huge.
Mm-hmm.
So the silk factory looked small compared to those buildings. But once you walk on the inside, that's how it appeared on the outside. But once you walk on the inside, It's like so many stores. So as soon as I walked on the inside, um, there was this lady like standing out of one of the shops, outside of one of the shops, telling me to
Right.
come inside, come inside. And so that's that pull, like in the South, we have flea markets. I don't know if flea
Right.
markets are other places in the US in the
Yeah, yeah,
country
yeah,
that.
yeah.
Oh,
We got them.
really? Okay.
Hmm. Yeah, y'all
But
special. You're not that special.
because I've never been to a flea market outside of South Carolina. But
Oh yeah, bro. Yeah, they everywhere. Swap meets, flea
oh
markets. Now it's
yeah.
not like the Charleston vibe. The Charleston got a whole different vibe with the open air
Oh yeah,
market
they
where they used
do.
to sell enslaved people. But another episode. But yeah, we
No,
got flea markets,
they
bro. We
do.
got flea
But
markets.
they were pulling on you. So they had that flea market pull. It was like,
Right.
come inside, check out this, check out that. And I was like, no, because I had to go to the third floor because on the third floor of the Silk Factory is all the men's stuff. And
Okay.
on the first floor, they have some men's stuff. It's like a mix. I think on the second floor is women. On the basement part area is mostly all shoes and luggage. But
I
on the
was about to
third
say
floor,
sneakers. Yeah.
yeah, on the third floor is the men area. So those are all the suit shops, and other clothing stores. So I get to one suit shop. I'm looking for a specific one because my friend tested me the business card, and I can. It's Tony and Tony's. That's the name of it. So if
Okay.
anybody ever visit Beijing and want a suit produced there, go to Tony and Tony at the Silk Factory. But anyway, I went into one shop and to ask them the name. I said, "Do you know what Tony and Tony is?" And the person that worked there said, "Oh yeah, this is Tony and Tony." And clearly, the sign on the door wasn't Tony and Tony.
Right. It said Susan and Freddie.
I was like, "Okay, no, this is not." I was like,
Right.
"Where is it?" And they said, "Well, we have suits here. Why you want to see Tony and Tony?" And so at that point, I said, I have to find this place on my own because
Yep.
nobody is not going to help me.
He's
So I
about to get got,
finally,
my guy.
right. I finally found the store, and I walk in, and of course they immediately take me in, and I told them my friend sent me. Um, then they got really excited, and they told me to look at fabric so I can pick the fabric out, which are really awesome. So I'm going through picking out patterns, saying I want a suit with this pattern, a suit with this pattern. And so I chose about 6 or 7, including some sports jackets too. So
Yeah.
after I chose the fabric, I just basically told them what I wanted in the suit. I told them I wanted. You can tell them if you want it double breasted. You tell them which buttons you want, how you want the lapel collar. If you want it slim fit, they do your measurements right there in the store, and they can actually have it ready for you the next day. So I thought that was
Wow.
really crazy. I felt like a superstar.
Hell yeah. And outside of this purple one, how many other suits did you pick up?
Oh man,
You don't
probably
have to tell
about
if
five.
it's like confidential or you haven't even released them to the public yet. I know how that
I
goes.
haven't
I'm
released
just
some to the
curious.
public, but I have
Right.
about 5 or 6, and some of them like for the summer, and so
Yeah.
I'll wear them next spring and yeah
Okay.
next summer. Which I thought that was crazy, and they package them up really good. So I was passing through because I was going to Hong Kong and Guilin, and
Hmm.
so I did that for a few days. So I had to pass back through Beijing. So once I did that, I just picked up the suits. They had them packaged like you could just carry them 3 in 1
Right.
package. So I had them all in one hand, which I could carry easily, you know.
Right.
And I brought them back home.
Well, damn. I'm all about picking up
So that was
fashion
cool.
items or clothes or whatever when I travel, especially custom stuff. So now you gotta drop the real truth on here. Talk about the coins. Is it gonna kill my pocket to go
Oh
out
man,
and get one
coins.
suit?
So you can talk anybody down there. So if you have time, and I recommend going in there with time because the
Hmm.
more time you have, the better price you're gonna get. The suits were $150 and the sports coats were $100. But if you have time, depending on how many you buy, you can talk them down. So
Right.
I got one for like 120 because I was
Right.
tired. And usually with me, Yeah, I get tired with that sort of stuff and I just give up.
Right.
And so,
Right.
yeah. But if you had more time and, you had the energy, you can get them down further than that. But I thought $120 for a suit was really good. So that was a really good deal for a custom suit. That's how I got the
A
purple
custom
suit with the
suit.
gold buttons. Yeah.
Right. So this joint is straight purple, like
Mhm.
royal purple is double breasted with 6 buttons on the front.
Yeah, 6 gold buttons, right.
Yeah.
And you pick out the fabric, you tell them what you want. And so that's what I wanted, and they make it exactly how you want it. So that was
It's pimping.
really,
It's pimping. Y'all definitely got to check
yeah.
it out on Instagram if you guys are listening to this and don't know what we're talking about. He's got a photo of him dancing at a party in the suit, and it's lit. And I think it's also an opportunity, a reason to travel. I always saw myself as a person growing up who was getting custom made stuff in like Vietnam or China and stuff like that, and this shit pays off for $150 or less. You get it. They have really good flights going out to China. Like, you can make it happen and still come in way under what you'd spend in the US for the same thing, and it's not custom.
Yeah. And people were hitting me up about the suit as well. Of course, they were giving me compliments, but one of my friends, he's a funeral home director. He wanted in on the suits as well. And so
Right.
I told him a trip to Beijing is just a great opportunity for suits alone. So he's looking into it. I had other friends that were interested as well. So I thought that was really cool. That was dope.
And it's one of a kind. You can't beat it.
It's one of a kind.
You can't beat it. And you're a tall guy. You're a pretty tall guy, I'm pretty sure. Like, it's difficult to get stuff that fits off a rack.
It's difficult to find something that's different. Um,
Right.
yeah, I'm 6'1", but it's hard to find something like a purple double breasted suit. You just can't walk in a store and find that. You can't just Google shop that because you won't find that.
You can't
You
get that
know,
on Amazon, my guy. Yeah.
right? I use that as a time to embrace the moment. That's one of the
Yeah.
things I live by when I travel, and I try to tell other people like embrace that moment because you don't know when you would get that opportunity again, and that's for anything. So I had to buy these suits because I didn't know whether another opportunity. I don't know if I would come across another opportunity where I could get custom suits for that price.
No, there definitely aren't many. So if you guys are ever out in
Yeah.
Beijing, check out the Silk Factory, which sounds like a bomb ass club, by the way. Silk Factory sounds like a lit lounge. And then find Tony and Tony on the third floor. Rewind this
Yeah.
episode. You'll get all the details. Get you some suits.
Yes. Yes.
That's what's up, man. So let's jump into talking about planning trips because I'm really interested to know your process. You're just talking about being in the moment, being free, just kind of going with the flow. But when it comes to planning, that's the opposite, right? It's very much
Ah,
strategic,
yeah.
intentional. Let's talk about that on the flip side. What's going on there? How are you
Okay.
planning this trip that's
Well,
coming up?
okay. I don't really know everybody's job situation, but I book my trips. I book my flight first. I don't even request off. But for most people, for a normal job, they would need to request off and get their time approved first. But I just go ahead
Hmm.
and book the flight when I see travel deals. I use generic travel deals sites like that reach out to you and um promote like instant deals. Like I use secretflying.com. I use Scott's Cheap Flights as well. They email you when
Oh, Scott's?
yeah, I use Scott. I think it's a good company. It just lets you know when when a good deal, um comes across.
And you use
So
the free version or you use the paid version? Because at my last job, everybody loved that site and I was getting the emails constantly. And I know they have a paid version
I
too, right?
used I use the paid version because I travel often.
Okay.
But and it's definitely worth it. It's only like 30, I think it's $30 or $40 a month, a year. Not a month, but a year.
A year.
So I just booked the flight. They
And you're
email.
saving like how much money?
Um sometimes on a flight you save us $600, $700.
Wow.
Yeah.
So in terms of investment, that's a big return.
Yeah, exactly. So I use them, and I'm always researching destinations. So I know a lot of times what um, what the cost of a flight would be from my area as well. So when I see a deal, I know if it's a deal, basically, because I'm always looking up flight costs. But I
Right.
will, when planning the trip, I go ahead and book the flight, and then I request off from work, and then the real planning starts from there. Um, I start looking at other countries I want to visit, because a lot of times it's cheaper while you're in another country. You want to look at adjacent countries. It's cheaper to travel from that particular country than to come back to the U.S. and go back out.
Mm.
So I always try to travel to at least 2 or 3 countries when I do one trip. Because it's cheaper that way.
Okay.
And I live by
Right.
that embracing the moment theme. You don't know when you'll ever have a chance in that area, so you wanna get the most out of it. So I'll book trips within that. Let's say, for instance, I'm going to Greece. I'm booking this trip to Amsterdam. I'm booking a trip to Rome as well, because the flights between those countries are sometimes $40, $30 to $40. You know, so
Wow.
yeah. Or you can do the train, which is cheaper. Europe train. You have to just learn about different routes of transportation, which may benefit your pocket. So it's just a lot of research. And then from there, I like photography. And so I love featuring a place really well whenever I go there. So I'm always looking up the best spots for like pictures. And I look at a lot of forums and blogs as well. I love looking at blogs
Okay.
because they're actually blogs for different places you visit that tells you about the best spots there for pictures.
Oh,
And
wow.
so yeah, so I would do that. I Google that. I look on Instagram. I put in a search bar a particular place, so I don't miss a thing. I don't want to miss an experience, while I'm there. So I do that extensively. Like I do that nonstop or up until the trip. So during my planning, so I can add that to the itinerary, so I don't miss it. Research is key. And so I'm constantly updating my itinerary, just making sure I don't miss that special adventure that you can do only at that particular place in the world, you know? When I was
Right.
in
Or at that time of the year.
exactly, you know? And or even like when I visited Dubai, I wanted to, even though I didn't skydive, I'm still pissed about that, man. Because
What
oh,
happened there?
I'm pissed about that. I had everything planned out because I planned a trip to the T. And so I had on which days I was gonna go, which day I was gonna go to the desert, on which day I was gonna go to the Grand Mosque, and I had everything planned. And so for skydiving, I was gonna go on my last day, which was on a Sunday. I get there and they tell me immediately that they're waiting till the wind died down because the winds are too strong right now for flights. And so I waited for 2 or 3 hours, and then after waiting 3 hours, all the flights were canceled for that day, and I was just so pissed because that's really the main reason I went to Dubai, because it was my 33rd birthday, and I wanted to celebrate it by
Yeah.
skydiving, and it would have been my first experience. And I only want to skydive over the Palms. Like that's the only place in the world I want to
Right.
skydive.
In life?
Yes,
That's it?
or over
Oh, wow.
or
Okay.
over the Swiss Alps, but my bank account tells me that I may not be able to do that anytime soon because that's one of the most expensive places to skydive. It's about $17,000 from what I do, from the research I did there.
What?
Yes, yes. So I immediately
17,000 American
yes,
dollars?
yes.
Or Swiss chocolates? What are they paying
So,
in? What
right,
the hell is that about? 17,000?
right.
Wow.
Yes. And so, so I was like, I'll do the palms, and the palms is expensive
Right.
too. It's $600
Oh
to
yeah.
skydive over the palm.
Ooh.
Yeah,
That's a special drop zone. So I'm in the process of getting my skydiving license right now. So the wind game, the weather, like that's all a part of the game. So I'm sorry you missed out on that. But the
yeah.
palms, you have to have the highest ranked license to jump out of a plane by yourself out there. You
Uh,
can't just have a basic license like I'm getting right now. You need to have like a couple hundred jumps to do that one.
and if
So
I'm not
I know it's in high
mistaken,
demand for
I
sure.
don't know this guy name, but I need to reach out to him. I want to reach out to him, but he's from your area, I think, and he works at. I don't know if you know him. He works at Skydive Dubai, and I
Really?
looked at his Instagram, and I'll actually get you the info. I can't think of his Instagram name right now. But
Is he black?
he's from Dallas. He's black. I think he's from
Okay.
Dallas or Houston, but I'm for sure he's from Texas. And I didn't know of him, but I saw him there because he's a black guy. So when I see other black
Right.
people, I'm like,
We
oh
stand out.
yeah, exactly. So I kind of remember him. That I was thinking maybe he's not from America, and so I get back here in America and I see a picture of him on Instagram. He was featured on a travel page, and so I went to his page and I was like,
Oh.
"Whoa, this is the guy." He's actually American, and he's a skydive instructor.
Oh wow, need to check that out. Yeah, definitely hit me up with those details
Yeah,
because there's not many brothers skydiving. There's not many people skydiving in general, but I
right.
always get super thrilled when I'm at my drop zone and I see a black family show up or just anyone black on IG.
Yeah,
I'm just like, all right, yeah, we need to see more of this because it's a very unique
yeah, and
experience.
that shows you how small, actually, how small the world is. When when you
Right.
can connect people, and I'm sure there's gonna be much more of a connection. When I reach out to him, because I've connected with so many people, it's insane, and um, certain people that know other people in so many different parts of the world. And I'm like, wow, the world is really not that large.
Right. You get a sense of the global community right from your phone. And I know every time I log on and I talk to someone like you just to be on the show, I get a taste of some of your adventures. And I'm just like, oh, I've been there. I've been to that spot. I know that place in Paris. And
Yeah,
it makes you kind of get like a fuzzy feeling inside, like, oh, okay, like we
exactly.
kind of have similar experiences.
And the crazy thing is I do not experience myself. I do not consider myself a world traveler.
Hmm.
I don't know why. I
What's
don't
missing?
know.
You don't own your own island yet? What is it?
Um of course I'm gonna get a taste of the South African culture next month.
You going to Afropunk? Oh, no, that's this month. Never mind.
Yeah, no, that's this month at the end of the month. I don't really know. Maybe I wanted to visit all seven continents. So Antarctica is missing for me. Maybe a few more Asian
Mhm.
countries. I need to do the Mid East again. I need to do Jordan. I don't know. I'm missing all those places.
But it's a personal goal. It's kind of like
Yeah,
your own personal definition of what makes you a world traveler. Because
exactly.
by all means, you check out your passport, check out where you've been, just the stories you've told so far. I'd consider you, sure as hell, a world traveler.
Yeah, I don't know. I have to get those places knocked off. The world is so huge, and it's so many different things to experience in this world. You can't experience it in a lifetime. That's why I constantly tell people, because a lot of people like country track, and like they
Hmm.
count the countries they've been to, and they say, well, I've been to 30 countries, I've been to 60. And you can go to a country one time, but there only experience like 0.5% of that entire country, You have to go
Right,
continuously,
right.
because there's so many other cultures within that country, So the world is so vast, and I say just to try to experience the world for yourself. You can go to three countries, and experience so much more than someone that have visited 30 countries.
Yeah, I think that's a great perspective, and I appreciate you sharing that because sometimes, I mean, I'll see the posts on IG or on social media like, what level traveler are you? Beginner will have like 1 to 7 countries, intermediate will have like 8 to 20, and then expert will have 20 plus. And I'm like, I don't even have 12 countries at this point. I did spend a year and a half in France, so
Yeah,
I taught myself a language. I had these other very deep experiences, and it's like that's what it's all about. Just like you, I really appreciated your reason for not including Jamaica because you didn't feel like you had been steeped in the culture enough in terms of it being your first international experience. Because I think ultimately that's what we're looking for, and especially for the guests that I pick on the show, I love people that are looking for the culture, looking to enlighten themselves and learn something rather than just fill up a passport.
exactly. And be open minded. I don't know how much more time we have, but I want to talk a little bit about, group traveling versus solo traveling because
Yeah, drop it.
um see, I people ask me questions all the time because I have solo traveled to most of my destinations. And people ask,
Right.
how is it? Are you scared? Are you lonely? Or is it fun, basically, when you travel? And
Mm-hmm.
how I have just as much fun. I can say this honestly. I have just as much fun traveling alone than I do traveling with a group. You get back what you put in for a trip, basically. So when I travel solo, I I do preferably I'll do Airbnbs, and sometimes I do share Airbnbs just to meet someone else.
Okay.
I'll visit different places there, meet other people, go out somewhere, meet other people, and so it's fun. I set up. I do a lot of hiking when I go on trips, and I'll meet people there, and people everywhere, and so that's really one of the best things about my trip. One of the ways I became more culturally developed is by traveling
Mm-hmm.
solo, because that way it seems like I'm forced or led to meet other people there, and so
Right. You don't have a choice.
right, exactly. Exactly. So it turns out to be so much fun. I think the first time it may be a little scary, but after you get the hang of it, it's just, you know, it's another solo trip that you're going on to meet some fabulous people in another country. So,
Can we talk about that right quick? Because I love that you shared that it can be scary for that first trip. And the show is tailored towards, men of color and hopefully inspiring and giving helpful practical tips for other brothers who might see your pictures and think it's out of reach. But that's real talk. Like it's scary. I remember my first trip, I was scared.
yeah.
And I'm really curious to know what made you do it anyway. You'd already had the time, scheduled out for work possibly. You'd already put down the money. You were still scared. What was it that made you still want to go through with it?
Yeah. Of course, your first trip, I don't recommend going anywhere too far. My first trip
Okay.
solo was to the DR. So I went to um Domingo, the capital of the
Yeah.
DR. And so um of course the primary language there is Spanish. So basically when you stay there, I stayed at this little boutique hotel, and the people there spoke English, but going out on the streets, no one else really spoke English at all.
Right.
So it's kind of like I don't know if a art, but you just learn to like to be aware of your surroundings at all times. I really didn't go out too late as far as like walking. I really don't walk the streets too late when I'm in another country. People that
Just for safety reasons, just because you don't know the
just for
hoods and
safety
stuff.
reasons, especially if you don't really know the area. And if it's your first
Yeah.
time being
I think
there,
that's
and
smart.
if you don't know anybody else there, you may want to stay on the inside. And that goes for male or female. That's just
Yeah.
something I do to stay safe. And I think it had worked for me. Thanks to God, I don't have those stories like some of my friends. I've been robbed and and
Right.
and other crazy stuff, you know. I don't have a story where I've been close to being robbed, you know. So I try to generally stay safe. So that's one of the things I do. If I leave stuff in the room, well, first off, I try to, if they don't have a safe there in the hotel, I
Hmm.
try to, well, I take all my stuff with me, like my money, which is not good to take, high amounts of cash
Right.
around.
What about your
But
passport?
if they don't have a safe there, my passport is staying with me.
Got
Yeah,
you.
but most of the time, some places I do stay, they do have a safe, and I leave my passport. I put my passport there. But if they don't, people don't. A lot of people, if you look on sites and listen to other travelers get their opinion, they suggest not taking your passport around. I take my passport with me. I
Right.
do. I just feel so much safer with my passport. Of course, you put it in a place where you can't lose it. Put it on you.
Right. Or another option for that, for those who might not have had the experience yet, if you don't feel like you can just leave it in your hotel, carrying a copy of your passport papers is
Oh
also
yeah,
pretty
yeah,
useful. Because it can come in handy for those of you guys who are kind of on the fence. You can have a little bit of both.
exactly. Yeah, make some copies of it and carry that with you. So that's very true. For those people that like to party alone on a solo trip, I don't recommend that. um, you can do that, but I heard a lot of stories, that wasn't good. So is it worth it? You just got to think about it. If you want to get really wild and you there in a third world place by yourself and you want to turn up, I don't
Hmm.
I don't recommend it at all. You just have to think about some of the consequences. Think about the worst that could happen.
Remember, y'all, Dr. Said just said, I do not recommend doing that shit. So think about
Right.
it. Because it can be tempting. Things are cheap. There are pretty people everywhere. It can feel like a good vibe, but chances are, if you're American and you're in some of these areas, it's very obvious that you're not from there.
Yes.
Just like somebody walking down your block and they're not from around there. They assume you have money. And I really appreciate you sharing this aspect that even now, as an experienced traveler, you still keep these things in mind to keep yourself safe and make sure you have the most positive experience
Yes.
possible. That's real.
Right. And I don't know why I do this. I don't know how other people feel about it, but I don't tell the truth a lot of times to other people when they want to know my name, where I'm from, when people ask. But you still want to be
Right.
cordial. They want to know where you stand, what's your name, and I never give them the truth.
Especially for where you stay in.
Exactly. My name is David. My name is David, and I'm from LA, and I'm staying at the Marriott. Which is bogus. It'd
Right.
be, don't ever give that information up to a stranger, man. Don't tell them all your personal information, and your name is can be kind of personal if it's a complete stranger. I don't know. It's just one of the things I do, man.
That's smart. And we haven't talked so much about safety and some of the basics, but listen, it's easy to have a great time, but it's also easy to not do some of the simple, smart stuff that Sed's talking about and have a terrible time.
Yeah.
And I think that's part of the reason why you've been so successful and continue to travel is because you keep these things in mind. It sounds like you kind of have a mental checklist and a process
Oh
already.
yeah. It's definitely a mental checklist. Preparing until getting back home. It's so much work that goes into it.
Yeah. That's real. That's really real. So before we jump into you telling us about all the awesome stuff you have going on, I wanted to know if you had one piece of advice or one reason why men of color should travel for those who might be listening to the show that haven't taken that step to even sign up for, an email deal list for flights or are just kind of anxious about it in general. What do you think Black men can get out of traveling more in general, whether that be in the US or internationally?
Yeah. Traveling for Black men, it makes you more open minded. It makes you more cultured. It prepares you for the world. It prepares you for any type of encounter. I would say, even here on your job or just meeting different people, it just makes you more understanding of other people, and it makes life easier for you because of that.
Hmm.
Yeah, it have definitely like opened up my mind to so many other things and so many other people. Anybody I meet here in the U.S., I'm always trying to learn more about them and trying to basically understand them, you know. And I help so many people that way. And in return, it makes life easier for me. Me understanding someone else, it makes life more peaceful for me, you know.
Hmm.
So that's what you definitely get out of it, especially men of color. So I definitely like recommend my brothers to travel. Book a trip to a place you've never been or to a place you haven't even thought about traveling to.
That's real. You nailed it, bro. And I like that you hinged on some things that don't often come up. A lot of times people talk about perspective, but being more prepared for the difficulties or the turbulent times of life, being adaptable and having peace, like that's real, bro. Because there's things to be grateful for on a daily basis. And one thing for me personally is just having peace within my life, not being too stressed out, not being too overworked, not being too lazy, but just having that clarity that comes with peace. You know what I mean?
Exactly. Peace is major for me. And traveling is one of the things that eases my mind. And take the stress away basically. Take the worries away. It makes me feel good meeting meeting other people that are different. I love it. I don't get that here in the space I live. In Columbia, South Carolina, you
Mm.
don't see a lot of that. You're not gonna meet a lot of different people.
It's a different kind of turbulence out there.
Exactly. And so traveling is is the only way I can get that.
Well, that's what's up, man. I think most of the guests and myself definitely we see travel as a way to kind of grow and challenge ourselves personally. And I really appreciate you being so transparent with your views on it because it's unique and I think it's totally spot on. So as we transition out of here, bro, tell us what you got going on. I'm not even going to say it. I know a little bit of what you're doing, but I know you got like five, irons in the fire. So what's popping with you?
Yes. So as far as traveling, just traveling, right? Because that's probably all we
Life. You
got
could be you
time
could be
for.
starting a
Really?
nonprofit. You could be
So
clothing the
no.
homeless because they
And,
need it in
and
Colombia.
so I for my email subscribers to my blog, which is saidandthecity.com, I'm about to start
Right.
back emailing deals that I find to my subscribers. I was doing it for a little while, but I'm about to start back doing
Oh
that.
wow, that's
And
awesome.
updating the site. I don't have my latest travel adventures on there because I've been traveling, so it's really difficult. So now I'm trying to allow time between travels just to update the site. So instead of me getting back home and
Okay.
planning for another trip, I'm trying to now plan time to update the blog, then book a trip and go back out, because I really want you guys to benefit from some of the places I've been and learn some of the lessons I've learned so you don't repeat some of the mistakes that I made. I have that going on. Going to Africa to the motherland. I'm going to
Right.
South
Right.
Africa. I'm gonna do a layover in Turkey. For those that don't know, Turkish Airlines, it's the only airline company I know that do this. For their layovers, they give free English tours all the way up to I think a 10-hour tour. You can pick whichever one you want,
Oh
and it's
wow.
free, or they will provide you with the hotel for the layover as well for free also. So they started this back in March.
Okay.
It's a cool
That's a
deal. It's
hack.
almost like $100 deal, you guys, for.
Right.
And so I'm doing that. I'm heading to Johannesburg. And so from there, I'm going to Zimbabwe, Botswana, then down to Cape Town, back home. I booked the trip in March. That's in May. In March, I'm going to Europe, Budapest, and Slovakia.
Okay.
So I'm visiting there. In May, I'm going with a large group to Costa Rica. One of my buddies, actually, his name is Said too. Some of you guys may know of him. have visited his page, said in the city on Instagram. But we're doing
Yeah.
we're doing a large trip down in Costa Rica. So that's gonna be
Okay.
fun. That's in May.
That's gonna
And
be a turn up.
so yeah. And then my birthday is July 4th. And so that's gonna be a huge trip. I'm looking at going back to Europe. I don't have that plan yet. So as far as I have out to May already booked. So that's pretty cool, man. I got 3 trips already booked.
Yeah, man. What a way to start, 2019 and just know you already got them in the bag.
Exactly.
Wow.
So that's amazing. So that's what I have going on. Still doing the job. I can't tell you about some other things I got going on. I'll tell you later. But I can't put it out there right now.
That's fair. That's fair.
I'm in the planning. The planning phase. So yeah, I'll let everybody know what's up. Give me about 2 or 3 months. Yeah.
Right. He's about to open up a suit shop, y'all.
You never know.
I'm kidding. I didn't say that. That's not. I'm gonna edit that out. It's gonna be edited out.
You never know. But it's gonna be huge for me. So I'll let you guys know. Just stay in touch. Stay in touch with me. And follow me, hit me up, ask me questions, and reach out to me if I don't reach out to you first. If you're curious about a certain place I've been to, or I might see something on your page, or that I'm interested in, and so I'm definitely the first to reach out. To try to get some tips, some free tips, tips for Black people.
Right. Free smoke.
Exactly.
Yeah, free smoke. But yeah, man, I love what you're doing with the site with sending out the deals that you're finding because, what better way, the site's called Scott's Flights and whatever, but it's like, we don't know him.
Exactly.
We don't
right.
know him.
And so nothing I do, I try to keep, concerning travel private or secret. Like I'm always trying to help someone else. They have a legitimate question about travel. I'm always trying to share my suggestions as well.
Right. And that's how we keep more people interested and have more access. And dude, I think you've done an amazing job throughout this show. Your site already has tons of content, but I can't wait till you revamp it and get back to that because blogging, y'all, is a full-time freaking job. Like, blogging is work.
It is a full-time job. I'm not even lying about this because you guys, it takes more time than my regular job. Like when I get home and deal with that, it's almost bedtime. That's like 6 hours and I'm not even close to finish. And so it is a full-time job. Especially if you're a perfectionist.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Thank you so much for being on the show and sharing all that. We're always going to have your website in the show notes. We're going to have your Instagram, your IG, so people can follow you. And dude, I hope you've enjoyed being on the Point Noir podcast show.
It was cool. Lit. My first podcast. I didn't even know what a podcaster was. I'm so behind. I'm so behind. Like I'm living under a rock. I was like, what's a podcast? Is it is it a video? Would I need my laptop or something like that? I didn't know.
Nah. And you're not the only one. So don't even worry about it. Dude, we hope to have you back on the show again, man. And thanks again, bro. I really appreciate it.
No problem, man. It was a good time.
Ladies and gentlemen, the doctor is definitely in today at Point Noir. Thank you so much, Ced, for all your energy and all the knowledge you shared with us today. You guys, he mentioned cheapcaribbean.com if you're looking for all-inclusive deals. I'm guessing they're going to be in the Caribbean. Tony and Tony at the Silk Factory in Beijing, China if you're trying to step up your clothing and fashion game. Secretflying.com, a great place to chase flight deals, and Scott's Cheap Flights. According to Ced, it's definitely worth the investment. If you can save a few $100s on just one trip, $30 or $40 a year is nothing. You're going to make that money back. And if you didn't have a chance to take notes on that little section right there, make sure you follow him on Instagram at med_Ced and definitely check out his personal travel site, cedinthecity.com, where he shares this and a lot more of all of his adventures. Thanks again, Ced. It's the end of the year, y'all. Hope you guys are looking forward to making some amazing travel plans, and I hope that the knowledge that our guests are sharing is going to give you some of the tools, give you some of the ways to think about travel so that you can make it affordable, have your dollar stretch further, and just go out and see the world. That's all we really want you all to do. So until next time, as always, I'm Jerry the Third, aka Kimono Jack. Hope you guys have a safe, happy, and warm holiday season, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace.